If you're a social media creator, you've probably went through each social platform and wondered, where should I be spending most of my time? So I want to just make a little bit of a tier list of what my thoughts are on each social platform and break them down depending on like where I think they're at in terms of social monetization, in terms of longevity of the platform, community building, like all these different things that I'm going to be judging each of them on. And so I chose to do the ones down below on the ticker. There's a few that I'm obviously leaving out, but I wanted to just start with these ones because I think that if you're a creator, these are probably the ones that are in your head. It's the YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, maybe Twitch. And so I'm going to break these down just in a video on my tier list, and I'm going to go into each one and why I specifically think that they're this tier. So with that said, the first one I'm going to start with is TikTok. And this has been one that I've been very critical of in the past. I think that early on, I thought that TikTok was a really hard place to grow community. The videos are only 10 seconds to 1 minute, which I always talk about this thing of like time spent. And you usually build communities when you have consumers spending a lot of time watching your content. And unfortunately with TikTok, that's just not the case. Usually when I spend time on TikTok, I'm watching hundreds and hundreds of TikToks every probably 5 minutes. And so you don't spend a lot of time with creators. And so just judging TikTok on some of the criteria that I wanted to break down. Monetization is the first one. They're still struggling to figure this out. The videos are not long. I know they've tried verticalized 10-minute plus videos, but even then those don't monetize well. So we're looking anywhere between like the 2 cent to 4 cent per view on TikTok, with a lot of creators making less than $1,000 a month on TikTok. And it's just kind of the harsh reality of social platforms that are focused on short form content. Where creators are winning on TikTok, and there's few of them, but where some of them are winning is on TikTok Shop. And I've done videos on this before where I've went through just the amount of money that some creator products are making on TikTok Shop, and some of the creators are making tremendous amount of money on just affiliate program deals. And so I think it just really depends. But in terms of monetization, I think that TikTok is still struggling to figure this one out. The next one is community. I kind of touched on it at the beginning, but it's really hard for you to grow community on TikTok. I've changed my tone a little bit over the last few years. I've seen creators build real community on TikTok and transition that over to YouTube, but it's still very challenging to do a short form video. And so this is another thing that just makes me skeptical of the platform. The one thing I do like about it though, is TikTok has great discoverability. The amount of TikTok creators that I see that I've never seen before that pop onto the platform and are getting millions of views on videos, that has never existed before in social media. I think short form content is this like really unique form of discoverability that has never existed. And so for that reason, like TikTok to me, next to YouTube Shorts, but probably ahead of YouTube Shorts, is the place where I would spend most of my time if I was a new creator. Another thing that I wanted to judge these on was just workload. Like how much time does it take a creator to actually get a video out on TikTok? And it's actually quite simple. You don't have to worry about a thumbnail. You don't have to worry about a title. It auto captions, so you usually don't have to worry about that. I think there is a lot of TikTok accounts that will do their own captions, that will add a lot of their own animation. But for the most part, it's a pick your phone up, film a video, post it on TikTok. So the workload and the ease to post is actually very good. And so I would obviously give it a high rating on that regard. And then the last one is longevity. Will this platform be around years from now? Am I betting on TikTok over the long term? I really don't know. I think there's so much unknown with TikTok right now, and American policy of like, will the government ban it? Will they not ban it? What's going to go on? I think that, given this article right here, which is like Trump and TikTok, how his win could impact the potential ban, I'm actually unsure that anything happens. Like my bet would be that once the contract runs out for the time frame of their allotted time to sell TikTok, I think this just becomes an issue that nobody talks about. I could be completely wrong, but it just feels like going through this whole election cycle that TikTok wasn't really even a topic of discussion. And so maybe the administration come January, February changes their tone back to TikTok and they want to ban it. I just don't see that happening. So I think the longevity of TikTok is actually quite good. I don't expect it to be banned. And even if it was banned and they had to do something, there's been a plethora of US companies, private equity firms that have come out and said they would stand up and try and buy TikTok. And so I'll just say from a longevity perspective, like I'm quite bullish that this will be around for a long time. With all that being said, I'm probably gonna vote this an A. Maybe that's a little high. I think it's like between a B and an A, but I'm going to give TikTok an A. Honestly, just because I think that if you're starting out as a creator, TikTok should be where you start. It should be where you hone your craft, your video making, you find your voice, and then you transition over to some of these other platforms that I'm going to talk about in a second. All right, the next one, and this is probably the one that I spend most of my time on, is YouTube. Now, this is one platform that I think is the gold standard for content creators. It's the end game for most content creators. You want to get to YouTube, you want to build an audience, you want to make long form videos. The first thing is like monetization, which I talked about on TikTok. YouTube is a little bit the opposite. It is actually the best platform in terms of monetization. Just in terms of RPMs on the platform, which is like the amount of money you make per 1,000 views, or the net that's paid out to the creator, is anywhere now between like $3, and I've seen upwards of like $25, $30 RPM, just depending on the niche of content. Technology channels, automotive channels, travel channels, outdoor channels. Like I'm seeing high RPMs for a lot of these channels too. And don't get me wrong, they're like 15 minutes in length, so they have a lot of ads. But YouTube is by far the best social platform in terms of monetization for creators, and the amount of alternative monetization that they have for creators. Just other ways that you can make money on the platform outside of AdSense. And so YouTube, obviously, like high bar there. Community building, I think, is one that YouTube has always excelled at. What ends up happening is like creators make long form videos. People are engaging on those long videos for a large amount of time. They're commenting on those videos. And so a lot of creators that post long form videos on YouTube have built amazing communities. And I don't think that stops. I just honestly think that accelerates. My bet for 2025 is YouTube will continue to win, continue to take attention away from Netflix and the streaming services, continue to win on connected TVs, continue to win in just the quality of content that's coming out on the platform. Because I think that every single year for the past 10 years that I've run this company, the quality of content on YouTube has went up. And so it's like from the amazing digital circus to the game theorists, like there's just so much content now that's just upping the bar in terms of quality. And so I think YouTube excels there. In terms of longevity, I think the one thing that we should maybe pay attention to is like, will Google and YouTube have to get split up? And in that situation, like what does that look like? I honestly think YouTube could live well on its own. We see from like this article that YouTube's earnings for Q3 were up and to the right, which has kind of been the story of YouTube over the last like 5 to 6 years. Is like it just continues to grow. In Q3, rising 12% to like $8.9 billion in revenue. And so we're seeing like, and this is a testament to a lot of the things that's happening that I said, which is like connected TV going up, watch time going up. The amount of ad inventory that's getting spent on YouTube is going up. Now they have an NFL partnership for NFL Sunday Ticket. It's just like a lot of things are going in the right direction. But this has seemed like this to me has like been a constant of YouTube over the last decade that I've been running my company. And then the last one, just talking a little bit about like workload. Now this is the tough one. It is hard to make videos on YouTube. You have to think about thumbnail. You have to think about title. You have to hire an editor, or the creator needs to do the editing, and it becomes very important to get people to stay watching those videos. And so all those little minor things, whether it's like what colors in the thumbnail or what keywords are in the title, all come back to play in like how successful your channel is. And so I think the workload and ease of use is very challenging for YouTube, but the risk reward is so worth it if you can figure it out. And so I don't think this is going to be a surprise to many people watching this video, but YouTube is an S by far. 7 days a week, twice on Sunday. YouTube's an S. I'm not going to fall off that one for a long time. Next one's Instagram. Instagram's changed quite rapidly over the last 2 years. It's now become a platform that's like pretty predicated on short form video. Reels is like the growth metric on Instagram. I think for those people that are Instagram creators that are watching this video, you've probably already realized that the only way that you gain new subscribers is by posting Reels. And so the platform has really just become very similar to TikTok or YouTube Shorts in that it's just short form, verticalized content. So for me, like Instagram has always been a really bad place in terms of monetization for creators. I think the brand deal business is there on Instagram, but outside of that, you know, maybe you could have memberships, maybe you could do a few other things, but for the most part, Instagram does not monetize. It's really challenging to make money on Instagram outside of brand deals. The longevity of the platform, owned by Meta. I don't really see anything or any reason why Instagram won't be around for a significant period of time. And so I don't have any concerns there. I also think like the workload or like ease of posting is actually quite low. You take pictures, you edit pictures, you post pictures. I think now that Reels came into play, it's a little bit more difficult to like get short form Reels out. But for the most part, is what I'm seeing is creators are posting the same Reels on Instagram that they are on their TikTok, that they are on their YouTube Short. And so they're just utilizing multiple social platforms to post those videos. But for me, like I've never seen a lot of value in Instagram. I think it's a place where creators can prove how popular they are by how many likes they get and what engagement they get on Instagram. So it's kind of become a platform that is a little bit more about like how much clout do you have in the industry. And a little bit too, like brands, for those of you that don't know, a lot of brands go to Instagram to see how popular creators are. It's what they care about. If you're like a 68-year-old CMO or an executive at a brand, you're probably not going on YouTube and watching YouTube videos. You're more than likely going to Instagram, seeing how many likes they get, seeing how many comments they get. Okay, how popular is this person? How many followers they have on Instagram? So it's like one thing to keep in mind if you're a creator is like Instagram does matter in the overall picture, especially for brands, but I honestly don't think it's that important in like where you should be focusing your time. So sorry, Instagram, I'm throwing you on C. I know that might be a little low, but it's just like my feeling towards the platform, and like creators just shouldn't be spending a considerable amount of time on Instagram. Good old X. That's the next one we're gonna go to. I mean, let's just start with longevity because that's probably the one that is on the top of my mind. It was a publicly traded company. It was acquired by Elon Musk. He owns 100% of that business. I don't really know what happens over the next like 5 years. I know he's been pretty public in saying like he wants to turn it into WeChat, which in China is more or less like the everything app. But I think X has done a lot of things right and a lot of things wrong since that acquisition. We've obviously seen advertisers pull out. They haven't been able to monetize video like I think they hoped they were going to. And monetizing video is something that X has always been trying to focus on, is like getting creators to post videos. We're seeing it in podcasting, is some of the podcast creators on X are posting their long form podcast videos, but they're not monetizing very well. And I've seen a lot of posts from different creators that continuously go viral by posting just random tweets, and they're even not making money. And so I think the monetization here has really struggled. The area that it excels though is in community. And I've been very upfront about thinking that there's a few platforms that really build community. Twitch is one of them, which we'll talk about. And I do think X is up there as well. I've seen creators build tremendous community on Twitter. And so I think that's like one of the bright spots of the platform. It is obviously like the town hall of what's going on in the world and what people care about on the internet. The workload is very simple. You can post 100 tweets a day. It's as simple as just like thinking about something and typing it up and posting it. So I think from that regard, it's very simple. And then the last thing is just the depth of like active users. And so this is like one article that I wanted to talk through. So here's an article about Twitter revenue and usage statistics. I mean, this is one I've seen Elon talk about pretty actively on his Twitter in the past. And I think that them getting rid of the tab on profiles that basically hides tweets that you've liked actually increased engagement significantly. I do think there was a lot of people that wouldn't like tweets because people could actively see what tweets they were liking. And so just in terms of revenues obviously went down. Like it peaked in 2021 here on this chart at $5 billion, but still significantly higher than I would have imagined at 3.4 billion. But for me, like it seems like engagement on Twitter is going up. Active users are going up. Like it seems like most things are trending in the right direction. But for the most part, like monetization still doesn't exist. I don't think it's a place where creators should be spending a significant amount of time, especially if you're getting into your career. And so I'm a little torn on this one. I'm kind of in between B and C, but I want to be fair to like Instagram. And I think putting X above Instagram is a little crazy. So I'm going to put them on the same plane, both at C. All right. This is one that most people probably will never use, unless you're in some type of business or want to use LinkedIn as a hiring mechanism, which I think is a good place to start. Like I started my LinkedIn journey about 8 to 9 years ago. It was something that I signed up for in college, but I never really used it. And up until about 4 to 5 years ago, I really didn't post. Like it wasn't something where I was actively writing out posts or making videos. I've started to engage pretty heavily on LinkedIn. It's probably the place that I spend the most time on a weekly basis. It's the place where I put out the most content. I'm usually now posting videos, which has become their growth mechanism for creators on the platform, which is really through video. And so monetization, unfortunately, doesn't really exist. Like I've had brands reach out to me that want me to do paid posts. That's really it. There's not a lot of interesting ways for creators to make money, but it's still very early. I think it's still seen as a place where individuals can go to find different work and jobs and post roles. And so monetization isn't really a thing. I think the depth of community is still a place where LinkedIn struggles. I think it's hopefully getting better, but to me, it's like, it's not really core internet. It's like a sidestep over into the business world. And so it's like for creators, like not a place that I would spend time. Although I am seeing a lot of creators put time and effort into LinkedIn. Zach King is probably a good example. Goated creator on TikTok, makes a bunch of amazing videos. He does behind the scenes videos on LinkedIn that perform incredibly well. And I know it's like, it's probably working really well for them as a recruiting tool to recruit and hire people from LinkedIn. Longevity of platform, I think, is high. I would say LinkedIn's going to be around for a long time. I know our recruiting team internally uses it. I know a lot of our employees use it on a daily basis. I don't think it goes anywhere. And like workload, ease of use, I think for a creator is like pretty simple. A lot of it started as posting articles. I remember the early days of like posting on LinkedIn. A lot of people were just engaging with individuals posting articles that they found interesting. And now it's become a little bit deeper where people want to know your thoughts of what you think about certain things happening in the business world. And videos, like I said, is becoming the new meta of like growth, is like posting videos. LinkedIn still gets a C. Like I think it sits in C. I don't want to give it a D because I actually really like the platform. I just don't think it's a place where creators should be spending a significant amount of time. It's kind of one of those things where you become popular on YouTube and TikTok and X and all these other platforms, and then you want to push into the business world. That's when I've seen people go into LinkedIn. I think it's like Ryan Reynolds is like a good example of like uses LinkedIn because of his company Maximum Effort, and they post a lot of amazing content and commercials. Just not a place where I think the creators should start. The sixth one is I want to get into Twitch. I have a lot of thoughts on Twitch. I think like my thoughts toward the platform have been up and down over the years. Twitch is like going through it right now in the media with like an adpocalypse situation that might happen, a lot of negativity around some of the creators. But for the most part, monetization has been great. I would say that Twitch subs is a way that most individuals monetize. I don't see that going anywhere. It lives within the Amazon ecosystem and is owned by Amazon, so you can use your Amazon Prime sub to subscribe to a Twitch creator. We're now seeing individuals like Kai Cenat like truly break through into culture. He's on day 26 of his Mafiathon right now. It's November 26th, and he has 575,000 subscribers. So those are people that are paying anywhere from $5 to $25 a month to be subscribed to his channel. And so I think that that aspect of Twitch, where it's like Kai has the biggest show on the internet. People like Kevin Hart. We just had SZA on yesterday. Like there's all kinds of people coming in and out of Kai's Twitch stream. He is the next version of a talk show. And I think Twitch has given creators that platform, that live platform to be successful. And so from my perspective, monetization has actually improved significantly, not only on the subscriber side and people having the ability to use Amazon Prime, but also on the ad side. I think it's only really for the top creators, but the top creators on Twitch are monetizing incredibly well through ads. It's not a great tool. When I click onto a Twitch stream, the first thing I get hit with is like 6 ads in a row. And so the way that they're doing it is not something that I would do, but I know it's working. The monetization is working. The depth of community on Twitch, I think, is up there at the top. I think Twitch has real community, real people. There's a reason why the chat for multiple streamers is always going so quick. And so I think like the community building and depth of community is just great. And this goes back to my TikTok conversation that we were having earlier, which is you spend a lot of time with the Twitch streamer. Like someone like Hassan is live streaming 6 hours a day. Kai, when he's live, he's been live 26 straight days, 24 hours a day. You are spending a significant amount of time with these people, which leads to just deep community and loyalty. And so I think Twitch is one of the best at that. Longevity, I really don't know. I think this is up to Amazon. It feels like Twitch is a little bit lost inside of Amazon. It feels like it's not a priority to Amazon. I don't know what would happen in the future and if they care to run Twitch 5 years from now. That would be a little bit of my concern as a creator, is like, what does Amazon do long term? It's such a small sliver inside a massive company. But right now, like Twitch is, in my opinion, like one of the top social platforms for creators, and still to this day makes a lot of stars on a yearly basis. I mean, even the guys in FaZe, Ron, Lacey, Stable Ronaldo, like a lot of these guys, like having amazing years because of Twitch and live streaming. And so, yeah, that I think is like one thing that should be pointed out. And the workload or ease of posting is actually much easier, in my opinion, than YouTube. You don't have to worry about a title. You don't have to worry about a thumbnail. You just have to be on for hours at a time, which becomes very challenging. Like sitting in front of a camera for 6, 7, 8 hours a day, being entertaining, talking to your chat. So it's like, it's a little bit more of a mental game than it is a creative game of thinking through creatively, how can my video break through? The discoverability on Twitch is still bad, and I don't know how they help or increase the discoverability on the platform. But ease of use to me is like you turn on your computer, you live stream, and you're ready to go. I think that is the reason why Twitch sees so many new creators on a yearly basis. And so this might sound crazy to some people. I'm probably gonna go, I was thinking A, but Twitch is not a place where you usually start. So I'm gonna throw it in the B category. It could easily be an A. Twitch could easily be an A. It has to do a lot more things right to get up to S. But I think it sits very well in this like B category. All right, moving on. This is one that I don't spend a ton of time on, but I've seen a lot of information about Snapchat over the last year. And we have a lot of creators who are having a lot of success on Snapchat. And so monetization opportunities were pretty non-existent 4 to 5 years ago on Snapchat. And they made a big effort as a company to bring creators in. I think early on it was called Spotlight, where you went into Snapchat and there was a bunch of different like Snap shows and Snap Stars and things like that going on. And those creators could essentially repost their YouTube videos in micro clips that you would click through, similar to how you view on Snapchat. And ads would be run in between a lot of those clips, and that's how you'd make money. And creators monetized incredibly well from that. And now it seems like the meta on Snapchat for the individuals that I've been watching, which is like Duke Dennis, David Dobrik, Danny Duncan, is they're posting 200 plus times a day, and ads are running in between their posts, and it's monetizing incredibly well. I don't have like information off the top of my head on like what those RPMs look like. My guess would be it's in like the 5 to 10 range on an RPM basis, which is high. Like that's comparable to where YouTube is at, but these are also short form videos. And so the monetization to me is like a place that Snapchat has really improved on over the last few years. Depth of community, I think, is pretty low. It's not a lot of people that I find out there that I speak with that talk about like their favorite Snapchat creators. It seems like Snapchat is a place where you go where you're already incredibly popular, and you go on Snapchat to increase the amount of ways that you're making money. Like it's additive on top of everything else that you're already doing. I don't think Snapchat is a place where as a creator, you start on Snapchat and you have success. I have not seen that. And so to me, like community is a little non-existent on Snapchat at the moment. Workload, again, pretty easy. It's just about volume. It's about grabbing your phone, posting anything, like even the David Dobrik example. He's posting his whole day. He's posting what he eats. He's posting when he's working out. It's just really like micro vlogs, like day in the life. And so the posting is actually quite easy. He's not putting thumbnails on it. They're not really worried about the editing. It's like shoot and post. And then longevity, Snap is still a publicly traded platform or publicly traded company. I don't see it going anywhere. My only concern would be like, does it monetize as well in the future? But again, it's like if you're already popular, Snapchat is a place you go to next. For the monetization alone and how much money I'm seeing creators make, like it's going to sit in the B category. I can't really put it on the same plane as Instagram, X, and LinkedIn, where creators are not making money. I do think Snapchat has done a great job over the last like 3 to 4 years in turning on monetization. Okay, this one's a little bit new. And I'm gonna be honest, I haven't spent a ton of time on Blue Sky. It's very similar to X. I think for those of you who have downloaded it, that have heard about it, when you just are in the app and you look at it, it looks like you're on Twitter or looks like you're on X. And so just like this article, it is growing fast. I've seen multiple articles now come out over the last few weeks about how fast Blue Sky is growing, the amount of users. I looked today and it's like top of the App Store still. And so the app continues to go. It says social media network has surpassed 21 million users, up from 13 million in October. So that's an increase of 8 million in a month. Like now it's like, to me, those are crazy growth metrics. I don't know how many active users are on Twitter, so I can't really compare, and I don't think this article tells me that information. But I wanted to put it on here just because it has been getting a lot of buzz. There is no monetization. It's too early. X has been doing this for a long time, and they're still struggling to figure it out. For me, like Blue Sky is so far away from monetization. And so if you're a creator, I think the only reason why you would start here is because there's not a lot of people on the platform. It's very new. You probably will get somewhat high engagement if you're posting just because it's new and there's not a lot of content for the algorithm to feed people. And so it feels like a good time to jump on. I'm just not sure this platform is around in 2 years. I mean, who knows? So longevity to me is like probably a big question mark of are they going to be around? And I think the ease of use is very similar to Twitter. It's the same situation. You can post 200 times a day. It's very easy, but it's still too new. It's going to sit in the C category. I think the only reason I put it in C instead of D is like it is at 21 million active users. Who knows how many are like daily logging in? Probably a small majority of that. But I do think it's an interesting platform and a little bit of a dark horse. And the last one, and this is probably the best example of a platform that is monetizing at the highest level, is OnlyFans. I've done videos about OnlyFans. I've researched a lot of how much OnlyFans is actually paying creators. Here's an article. It's like 60% of OnlyFans creator revenue comes from single purchases, not subscriptions. What they mean by that is it's like a single purchase for an exclusive picture or video or whatever that is, not necessarily like a person paying $10 a month. And so that's where 60% of their revenue is coming from. There's also a lot of articles that were talking about how the top OnlyFans creators make more money than the top athletes in the world. And so there's just been a lot of information that's come out over the last year about not only how much money OnlyFans makes, which is 6.3 billion in 2023, but then the amount that they're actually paying out to creators, which is it's probably the second highest next to YouTube. I don't know how accurate that is, but in my mind, I'm like, if they're making 6.3 billion, paying out 70% of that to creators, that's a significant amount of money. And there's obviously like Patreon that it compete with and some of the other ones. But from a monetization perspective, OnlyFans is on another level right now. I don't think this slows down. I don't think 2024 is a hard year for them. I think this just picks up. They've tried to get into exclusive content. I honestly don't know if that's worked out, but I've seen that they have done articles around launching their own shows on OnlyFans that are free for people that use the platform. And so for me, like the community aspect of OnlyFans is probably in a decent place. You can't really interact with anyone else on OnlyFans. You're going there for a specific creator. You're not necessarily going there for the community of the platform. And so it's like, it's a little bit different than everything else that we've spoken about. The workload, I think from a creator perspective, just depends on what you do. I think a lot of it is picture-based. Some of it is video-based. I would say the workload is probably quite challenging. You still have to get things edited, color corrected. There's large teams working for some of these creators on OnlyFans just to get videos out, to get different things out, to message individuals that are messaging creators and getting back to everyone. And so for me, like the workload is probably somewhere in the middle. And then longevity, I don't know, man, 6.3 billion in 2023. I'm curious what that number, I don't know if they've come out with the number for 2024 yet. We have a month left. I'm guessing it's going to be up and to the right. I really am. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 8 billion in 2024, and it's probably going to be much bigger in 2025. And so I think the longevity of the platform, it's like, it's going to be around for a while. And so it's like it's not a place where a lot of the creators that I'm talking about on like YouTube and TikTok and Twitch, like a lot of the creators will never be on OnlyFans. It's definitely a sidestep for most of the creators that are spending time on everything else up here. But no question, like OnlyFans has to be an A. Just in terms of what I just said, the monetization is so high. It's come onto the scene so fucking quickly. And so I've been just impressed by the numbers and the amount of money that they're paying out to creators. Hopefully you guys like kind of agree with me here. It seems like YouTube's the only S. I'm now like looking back on this, having just walked through all of this. I have no complaints about my list. YouTube is by far the only S on this list. TikTok, is there any other platform that could crawl into S? I do think it's either TikTok or OnlyFans. I think TikTok gets there the quickest if they can figure out monetization and long form video, which is going to be very challenging because it's like hard for me to watch a 25-minute vertical video. But those are the two that could make a jump into S. And if you're watching this, I think like hopefully what you took away from this is like where you should be spending your time. I think YouTube is the end game. It's the place that you have to spend the most time on honing your craft, understanding what videos do well, editing, making thumbnails. But I ultimately think it's the best place to make money. It's the best place to grow a business. TikTok is one of the best places for discoverability. Twitch, in my opinion, is one of the best places for community building. And then you kind of layer in the like Instagram, Twitter, maybe LinkedIn, eventually Snapchat. That to me is like how this kind of breaks down. Now, there's a lot of things that I didn't talk about. Substack, Teachable, Patreon. Like there's a lot of social platforms that could fit in here. I just wanted to do the ones that are on the top of my mind and the ones that creators usually go to first. And so hopefully this all makes sense. Hopefully you guys don't disagree with me too much, but would love to hear and understand like if someone disagrees with me on one of these, just hit me in the comments and I'll try and respond. So thank you guys for coming back to another video, and I'll try and make another one soon.